my name is Alison, and in this practice, we're going to be focusing on back bends, or as I prefer to call them, front body extensions. A lot of times people come to yoga because they have some back pain. And while I'm not a doctor, I am a yoga teacher. What happens often in our practice is we get so focused on trying to get our heads to the floor or other things that we forget to apply the strength. So here's a little breakdown of 4 ways to explore back bends. Let's start with our most common one. From a seated posture, any easy seat, cat and cow. So as you exhale, the belly button pushes to the back and we get an active extension of the rounding of the back side of the body. And then as you roll forward, press the heart space up and out and feel the length from the pubic bone up. And then roll with this. First step is to always find our breath. So the inhale offers this expansion and the exhale offers this compression. But that's only if we're thinking about the front side of the body. So keep the motion going, but now bring your awareness to the back. As I come in to this domed cat shape, I am extending the back side of the body. And as I roll into cow, this is where I want to feel intentional compression in the back. Compression is good. It's what keeps our bones dense and strong, but we don't want to do it in a place that invites discomfort or pain. So as you roll through 1 or 2 more of these, as you next compress the back side of the body, I want you to engage the core enough that you feel a lifted energy and you're literally trying to press as high as you can. Let's take 1 more, just like that. Exhale, pull in, feel all of that space across the back of the spine. And as you inhale, instead of thinking about pressing forward, think about this lifting energy. And now we're gonna roll this to tabletop. Same approach, but in this all fours position. So knees are slightly narrower than hands, everything trying to be 90 degrees. Now, same ideology though. We're gonna gaze up, and instead of being passive, press the belly button to the floor, squeeze the shoulders together. And as you exhale, press into the floor with everything you can and round your spine. Feel the length. And focusing on the back side of the body as you come back through this cow spine, feel the intentional compression on the back. Roll through this a few more times, looking to stay connected to the breath. Exhaling here, inhaling here. 2 more times, following this intentional expansion and the compression. In this space, with all 4 points on the ground, we don't have to worry too much because we are creating the only compression. Gravity is a little bit out of the picture right now. All right, now we're gonna try this standing. So we've been seated, we've been in tabletop, and now we are upright. Sweep the arms around, looking for the bony points right at your hips. Fingers are down or thumbs are wrapped in, giving you a little fist. Instead of thinking about your head going backwards, in this moment, I want you to soften the knees and push the hips forward. As you push the hips forward, the back bend will arrive. Now feel the extension, the stretch across the belly button, and if you feel an undesirable compression in the back, lift the heart space. Come up a little higher. Knees can straighten. Glutes are actively engaged here, but mostly what's engaged is this front side of the body, pulling the heart to the sky. Give this 1 more breath. And on an inhale, use your power to pull back up. And we're only gonna dome the shoulders and the rib cage space, but still honoring that cat. So doming in and feeling your space re-arrive. You can take a little standing cat-cow here, and then we're gonna come in for round 2. This time, still supported, absolutely wrap your thumbs in your fingers and bring them around a little higher, right at the rib cage height or where the kidneys are. Again, a little bend in the knees and squeeze the hands forward. As you're actively moving the ribs, you are gonna see you are naturally gonna wanna face the sky. And this might be here where you're still mostly straight. It could be really far bent back, but your goal is to press the heart up, keeping the core engaged so that the back gets that desirable compression as you open up the thoracic part of the spine. Soften the knees before you come out and gently use an inhale to lift yourself up. Third option is simply changing up the arms when you feel strong enough that your core is going to support your back and not let you just flop into the shape. So we'll start with hands at heart center, actively pressing fingers and thumb together. I'm again going to put that springy action in my knees and then roll the heart space up, trying to press the pinky finger up to the ceiling. That's going to keep my focus on engaging the core. I'm not throwing my head back. I'm letting my eyes go right where I want my heart to go. So where I look is where I go. Drishti is straight up, imagining the sky. And if you have a ton more room or more space in the shoulders, feel free to open out the arms, either into a goal-posted shape or long and reaching for the wall behind you. Depending on your mobility, you might reach back further, closer to the floor, but keep that energy moving straight up and then gently unwind. Find any of those 3 back bends with or without the support of your hands anytime. Let's bring it back to the floor and explore a little back bend known as camel. So camel is an on the knees shape. It's going to look a lot like what we just did, but it'll feel dramatic by just taking the lower part of the leg out of the equation. If you have blocks handy, they can be helpful. We're going to use our back and open the shoulders in a different way. You're welcome to reach for the heels. You're welcome to reach for a block. You can see they're about the same height. Coming in places, we have bend. Bring the hands around, pushing into the hips, those bony landmarks right at the back, top of the glutes, and gently push forward and feel the heart space lift. For some people, they have a lot more space as soon as they bend the knees this deeply. And what I want you to be really aware of is trying to keep the hips stacked above the feet. We're not trying to lean back. We're not trying to lean forward. We're opening up this low back space, the lumbar curve of the spine, and we're doing that with the support, letting the hands push that space open. Again, always use an inhale to exit a back bend, and imagine that inhale pulls you out nice and gracefully. If you want to take a little middle period, drop, untucking the toes, and take an upright cat spine. Work on keeping the head slightly neutral so that we're not fully giving a 270-degree turn of the head, but after a moment, if you want to bring it down and stretch the neck, you're welcome to. Version 2, that kidney band right at the ribs. So wrapping the thumbs in the hands, sweep them around right at the ribs, and forget about everything else. Just start by pushing into that space. Open out. This is the thoracic part of the spine. Breathing in. We are literally making room for the breath. Keep the hands active. Glutes are going to be engaged here. They're going to provide the stability to stay upright while leaning back. You'll feel also this line from the quads across the front side, stretching the belly button. And then again, I keep my gaze straight up, so neck is engaged. One more breath and use an inhale to softly pull out. Relax, take a moment, take that nice domed spine, making it intentional, squeeze from the front, rounding the back. And then bringing this into the more traditional camel, where you might be reaching for the blocks or your feet. So I'm going to tuck my toes for this version. That would be your preference. And much as we started before, hands come to heart center. This is your big, strong lift. This is using your core, the tree trunk that supports the spine, to lift the places we've been. And then the option is to sweep an arm up. It goes all the way back, and it might rest for a moment asymmetrically on the heel or a block. If you have access here, you're welcome to do this on both sides. You can raise the arm. Otherwise, take it one breath and take an exhale and bring the other arm in. This could be here. You can be planted on blocks. You may lean back a little further once you find support, but keep your awareness on this part of your torso, doming and lifting. No just falling into these back bends. When you're ready, you can bring out one arm at a time, use that leverage to sweep you back up, untuck the toes, and sit back. One last set, come in next. This time we're gonna lay all the way down, finding a bridge and maybe a few gateways to wheel. So lie on your back, feet are tucked in. Hands are reaching down for the heels. Doesn't matter if they touch, that's a direction. And then you're going to start to press into the heels, and lift the hips. The first version you may get to is a very straight line version where it feels like shoulders, hips, and knees are all in one line. Palms are still pressed into the floor. Now I want you to think about lifting that heart space, doming it up, and trying to block your own view of your knees. That's adding in all of the spine. The neck is at ease here. Shoulders are down, palms pressed into the earth. Squeeze the knees lightly together so that they stay engaged all the way through the inline of the leg. Pressing into the big toes will often get you there. I'm gonna come out of this one. We're gonna try a round 2. If you're working towards the eventual full wheel, but you don't quite know how to get there, we're gonna start with this wrist stretch, and you're gonna bring the hands up towards the sky and curl the fingers under the shoulders. Once they're there, forget about anything else, but lifting into that space we just were. Starting with the flat version, then doming the heart, pressing the belly button and heart to the sky, squeeze the elbows in, and you may start to feel where you can just lightly lift the shoulders. The head is still on the ground. But this is how we get the strength in the triceps and the flexibility in the wrist to eventually lift up. When you're ready, take an exhale and bring the hips back to the earth. If you need a little moment to hug in the knees, you're always welcome to take that windshield wiper, roll around, massage out the spine. I'm gonna show you guys where you might be starting with a full wheel. Remembering this is not about how it looks, but how it feels in your body. And this is a big ask of the wrists and shoulders. So your early versions might have your feet crawl out a little bit for stability. Feel free to adjust where you wanna be. But we enter the same way. Hands go back behind, fingers under the shoulders, hips lift, it domes, and then you press in and you lift all the way up, whatever all the way up is for you. If you're feeling spicy, you might find a little more space by lifting the toes and starting to press the head through the shoulders. And when you're done, make sure you leave enough energy to come out the way you came in. Lower the heels, tuck the chin, and slowly come through each place you've been. You might find a butterfly feels really nice here, letting it all settle. And you can go straight into a shavasana if that calls to you, or take any movements like an easy twist that will help you unwind all the beautiful effort you just poured in to your back bend. Wherever you go, take a moment to integrate everything your body just did, 5 or 6 breaths of a nice easy space, either reclined or in seated meditation. And whenever you feel ready to come back to the world as we know it, you'll start by breathing and then breathing life into a wiggle of fingers and toes. That'll spread to wrists and ankles, elbows and knees, and maybe you go straight for the hug in. Maybe you find a good morning stretch. Trust yourself to know how coming back makes sense for you. And then you might, from that hug in, roll to your favorite side, use your bottom arm as a pillow, and let the spine be really beautifully neutral for a moment in this fetal pose. And then your top arm will push you up, and you'll come back to the beautiful space we started. We'll inhale together one time, sweeping the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, draw the thumbs down, knowing that the light in me truly sees, honors, and celebrates the light in you. And I wish you a beautiful, heart-opening, strong back-bending day. Namaste.